Today I'm sharing 6 reasons of why you'll never get out of debt. Now, we're going to be raw, we're going to be real. We may talk about some things that you don't want to hear, but with every reason that I give of why you'll never get out of debt, I'm going to give you how to combat that and how you can use that to get out of debt. So we're going to dig in and I'm going to give you some practical tips on how to get out of debt and ways that you can combat your excuses or combat your fears and how to make them actionable so that you can get out of debt, because I do want you to be debt free. If you don't know me, my name is Kelly Ann Smith with freedominabudget.com, and I have paid off all of my student loans. I'm debt free. I paid cash for my car, my dream car, cash for my wedding, bought a house, and now we are saving for an Airbnb. And when the market recovers, we'll buy an Airbnb for our first investment property. And it's crazy how I went from living paycheck to paycheck. Even when I started this channel, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was only making $35,000 a year. And I've been there. I've been through the trenches. I've had my car repossessed. So I'm not speaking on a high horse. I'm speaking from, I've been there. I've made these excuses. Trust me, I've made these excuses, and how you're able to combat them and be like, all right, you know what? Let's stop telling ourselves that. Let's stop living in that and live in debt freedom and say, all right, we're going to get past this. We're going to move on and we're going to reach financial independence. We're going to hit our huge money goals and we're going to live abundantly. So I'm going to give you some practical step-by-step advice. Number 1 is you don't want to make sacrifices. And I know that there's so many people that go back and forth on the latte factor, and you're spending $4 a day on coffee, and if you just put that towards debt, then you would pay off your debt and you'd be debt free. And then other people are like, how are you becoming debt free on $4 a day? Like, no, you need to grow your income. You need to do all of these things. Like, I think it's a big combination of both, but sacrifices have to come to pay off debt. And I'm not saying forever. I'm saying for a season, get into a hustle mode, get into a mode of, all right, we are taking the next year, we're taking the next 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, saying we are getting hardcore and focused. We're going to pay off this debt so that we can live abundantly for the rest of our lives, so that we can not have to worry about money. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, like my husband and I, we don't think about money. We don't think about how we're going to pay this, how we're going to do this. Last week, our washer, we had to replace our washing machine. It was $930. Okay, like it sucked, but we just paid cash for it. We just bought it because we're able to live that way now because we sacrificed in the beginning. And yeah, it sucks, but there's sometimes that you have to just sacrifice. Now, not only is that sacrificing on spending or sacrificing on eating out or different things like that, but maybe sacrificing your time for a little bit and saying, okay, you know what? For this period of time, I'm going to sacrifice some time and get a second job or start a business or do different things to build my income, because a lot of people will also not build their income during that time. So maybe you have to sacrifice some time from your friends or your family for a little bit to build that income, to get that second job, to pay off that debt. But once it's gone, you can quit that job. You can get your time back. And think of how much more time you're going to have in the long run because you don't have that debt, because you don't have it weighing you down. Number 2 is you're not on a budget. And I know that so many people think that budgets are restricting and they get that stigma, but trust me, they're not. That is why I named my channel Freedom in a Budget, because when I got on a budget, guys, it truly gave me freedom that I never expected, even when I was living in debt. Even when I had that burden on my shoulders and I was in the grind and everything, I remember looking at my budget, and it's the same exact budget that I use today. I have it linked down below for you guys. I have Google Sheets, I have an Excel, I have printables, different things like that. But my budget gives me freedom to be in control of my money and say, you know what? This is my income, these are my bills, these are my expenses, and this is the goals that I have. And it helps me to come up with a roadmap, to come up with a game plan for my money. Almost like I've recently got into block scheduling because my brain is just all over the place, pregnant, all of this stuff. And I'm just like, we gotta come up with something here. So I've been doing block scheduling, and it really helps to, yeah, it's very structured, but it helps me just to put everything out there. And I'm like, okay, we have a plan. Whereas when everything's up here, it's stressful. When it's on paper, when it's in Excel, when it's in my calendar, it has a plan. Then another side of this is it gives me freedom to spend money. So what I mean by this is before, I used to go to Target, I would go to Marshall's, I'd go to Home Goods and buy different things, or go to Chick-fil-A and go out to eat or get Starbucks, and I would feel guilty because I'd be like, I shouldn't be spending this money, it should be going to my debt, and I shouldn't be doing it. I would have this guilt. But then when I got on a budget, I said, you know what? We're gonna put those items into my budget because I don't want it to be so bare bones that I can't live my life, that I can't ever get Chick-fil-A again, or I can't ever get Starbucks again. No, I love Starbucks. I love getting coffee. I love buying a shirt from Marshall's or whatever it is. So I'm gonna put a line item in there for eating out, for clothing, for different things, so that I can have the freedom to do that. But it's controlled. I have $100 a month. I have $150, $200, $75, $50, whatever it is, whatever the amount you want to put in, that's fine. But when you do swipe your card and you do have that, it gives you that freedom of saying, you know what, I'm doing it, I'm in control, within the parameters, it's totally fine. I don't have to hide it. I don't have to have that guilt. I don't have to hide it from my spouse or anything like that. It's in the budget, it's fine. That's how they give you freedom. Before, you would feel guilty because you shouldn't be spending it. No, you can spend it, just have it in control and have it within your budget. So if you're not on a budget, please, please, please get on a budget, and it's really going to help you to hit your goals faster. Have a zero-based budget so that at the end of the month, if you have $300 left over, that $300 needs to go somewhere. It needs to go to savings, investments, to debt. It needs to go somewhere and not just sit in your checking account. I did that for a long time. Oh, it's a buffer. Oh, I'll just roll it over. Yeah, that money gets spent. But at the end of the month, if you have any leftover money, it needs to go to a goal. Right now, ours is going to an Airbnb, or our investment property. Right now, that's where it's going to. Before, it was going towards debt. So if you have money left over, $300, $100, $25, $3.62, you better be making a payment to your student loans for $3.62. It all adds up, and that's really going to help you to regress faster than just letting it sit in your account as a buffer. No, it's not a buffer. Number 3 is your spouse isn't on the same page. And this is actually going to go along with 3 and 4. So I'm going to do them in the same thing. Number 4 is you lost your why. So I remember when I was first getting on the same page with Jamie, my husband. Now, this applies but doesn't apply. So when we got married, we were debt free. We paid off my debt in March. We paid off my debt in March. And right after we got engaged, and then we got married in September of 2017. So when we got married, I was debt free. My husband didn't have any debt. But we had big goals. We had goals of saving for a new car for me when I bought my Jeep Cherokee, and getting a house and different things like that. So we really focused on our why so that we could get on the same page with money. And it's the same with debt. So focus on your why. Why do you want to be debt free? Do you want to be debt free so you don't have that guilt, that burden, that stress? Do you want to be debt free for your kids? Do you want to be debt free so you can start building serious wealth for your family, your future generations? Do you want to be debt free for retirement? Why do you want to be debt free? Do you want to be debt free because you're sick and tired of paying interest? Yeah, I remember that. And seeing those interest payments, whew, they get you. So focus on your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing it? That's so important. And that really goes along with getting your spouse on the same page. My husband is a spender. It was so hard for us. I remember in our first 6 months of marriage, every time money was brought up, whether it was going out to eat or this or that, it caused a fight. And I really had to learn how to talk about money. I remember we went to premarital counseling. This is a really big, I don't want to say regret, but something I would do differently. When we went to premarital counseling, money came up. And I was like, we don't need to talk about money. I'm a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel. We're debt free. We don't need to talk about money. And he was like, okay, let's just cover these couple basics or whatever. I really wish we dug into the psychology of money and also how we were raised. We were raised very differently in money. Came from a background that we lived paycheck to paycheck. Money was very tight, qualified for free lunches. It was tight with money. I did not have a lot growing up with. My husband, he had a lot more growing up with than I did. So it was very different pages. He never had to sacrifice in the ways that I did. And I also lived on my own for, oh gosh, how was I? 28? I lived on my own for 10 years. I was 28 when we got married. I think so. I've been living on my own since I was 18. So I've been on my own in a different state. I was from Massachusetts, moved to Florida for 10 years on my own. He was still living with his parents. He went from his parents' house to our new apartment together. So it was totally different of the way that we grew up, the way we handle money. So I really wish that we talked about that in premarital counseling of how do you guys talk about money? How is it different for you? And really dug into that. So the first couple of months of our marriage were really tough because we were on such different pages. Like he's like, I want to enjoy my money. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to being broke. And that was a really hard thing. Like, yeah, we had money. Yeah, we had combined finances and it was awesome. But I could still have in the back of my head that scarcity mindset of, I had my car repossessed. I had my lights turned off. I don't want to go without. Like, I don't want to be spend, and then like freaking out. So it was hard to get on that same page with my husband. So we had to really learn how to communicate, how to talk, not to brush things under the rug, because we brushed things under the rug for a long time. And I really learned to get my husband, Jamie, on the same page with me with money was to talk about goals and talk about our why. I had my why, he had his why, and we had a why together. So there was 3 different whys that we had. So that when he was spending a lot of money, I was like, all right, babe, let's cut back a little bit. Let's make some lunches 3 days a week versus eating out 5 days a week. 3 days a week, I'll make you lunches. You can still go out to eat twice with your coworkers and your friends. But that money that we're going to save, that's going to go to this. This is something that you really want. So that's a way that I was able to get him on the same page and really sacrifice both ways. And it was a great compromise for both of us. So get on the same page with your spouse, learn how to communicate, learn how to talk those things, and then use that to focus on your why and have the why be the driving conversations, not because I want to, because I'm the saver and he's the spender, or vice versa. Number 5 is you don't have visual motivation to drive you to pay off your debt. These printables, these debt-free trackers that have become so popular, I've made a bunch. I have them on my shop for you guys. And I have them on my website, and I also have them on Etsy. They are like half the price of my website. Just definitely get them from my website, not from Etsy. You're going to save a lot of money. But they're like $1.50. They're super cheap. But they really help you to visually see yourself paying off debt, to visually see your progress. And it really helped me to be like, you know what? If I put an extra $27 towards this debt payment, I can color in the next space. I can go up a level. Or if I do this, then I can do this. And be like, you know what? I'd rather color this in than go out to eat. Like, it's crazy how that works. But I use savings challenges. I use printables, different things like that to really motivate me to pay off my debt. And it was so motivating. It really, really was. So use those challenges and all of the savings challenge. I have tons of savings challenge videos on my channel. All of those challenges that are putting money towards savings, you can always use those towards debt. So you can say, if we're doing this savings challenge, this whatever, every time that we would be saving money and putting it towards your savings account, you can put it towards debt. So it works both ways. So you can make them work for you in your individual situations. Definitely check them out. I have videos down below. I have printables. So many amazing things, so many awesome resources, even some free ones in there as well to really motivate you to pay off debt and really get focused on your money. The 6th reason why you'll never be out of debt is you think that you don't make enough money. Y'all, I was making $35,000 a year living in South Florida. South Florida is expensive. It is one of the most expensive parts of the country. It's not New York or LA, but it is expensive down here. Trust me. We live on the beach. We live where people come to vacation. It's expensive. And I lived on $35,000 a year. Now, it's not a money problem. It's a behavior problem. I know so many people that make multiple 6 figures a year living paycheck to paycheck because of lifestyle creep, because of the way that they grow their lifestyle as they make more money. So really get away from that of thinking that you don't make enough money. And there's ways to grow your income. Pick up a side hustle, start an online business. There's so many ways to grow your income that people just don't want to do. They'd rather sit on the couch, or they have kids, or this, that, excuse after excuse after excuse. I get it. But back to the first one, we have to make sacrifices. Sometimes that sacrifice is your time. Sometimes that sacrifice is time with your family. But it's only for a season if you want it to be. So don't use the excuse of I don't make enough money. It's also a behavior issue. A lot of times it's a spending issue, and that's where that lifestyle creep comes in. So really get your behavior, really get your spending under control, and that's going to help you to make more progress in paying on your debt. If you want to know the importance of multiple streams of income, how to bring in new streams of income, check out this video here. And if you want to know 5 savings challenges to save more money or put towards debt, check out this video here.
Oh,